Welcome along, and this is the beginning of a little series I'm going to do on the army lists. And someone mentioned in Discord, are there any guides available that talk about the strengths and weaknesses of different army lists? So I thought, oh, that's interesting. I might start a little series. I'm sure there are some other people that have done it as well. So these are just my ideas. Feel free to make comments, suggestions. I'm not saying I'm an absolute expert on this list, although it is one of my favorites. When I first started playing the game, I really liked playing as the Carthaginians, and this is the 216 list, Hannibal in Italy. I've chosen 1600 points because that's the standard at the moment in the digital league that a lot of players play in. So I've just chosen that, the standard default setting. Okay, so let's start. I've just chosen the base army. I haven't got any allies. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to add to this. I'm not going to go through all of the allies, but there's probably one that most players would use, which is the Samnites. So I'm going to add them onto this video, and so you're going to have kind of my analysis of the base army and this army with the Samnite allies. Let's just do an overview. The overview, this is a well-balanced army. You've got access to an elephant. You've got some good cav. Some of the classical armies, they don't have a lot of cav, or it's not so good. But the Carthaginian list, I think the real strength of it is the balance. You've got some good infantry, which I'm going to talk about soon, the veteran African spearmen, and you've got some veteran cav, armored noble cav. Apparently these are exactly the same. I just checked on that. So even though there's different names, they're actually the same unit because they're both superior quality and armored, and good cav. Even the noble cavalry, I mean, for 44, I think, if in classical, if I had to name, say, my top 10 units in terms of cost effective and value for money, I think noble cavalry would be there at 44. I mean, they're superior quality and protected. They're pretty good. Also, Javelin Horse as well. 24 is a bargain, really. Later on in the game, you can get some rear charges on infantry or cavalry. They can break units that are disrupted or fragmented. And for this kind of army as well, if you are going to use your cavalry, it's quite nice to back them up or use the Javelin Horse as a screen. It's kind of like extra cav, if you like, and I have got 4. So they work quite well with this list, the Javelin Horse. So this is just what I've chosen. This would be, if I had 1600 points, this is the kind of army I would take. I take an elephant. Elephants are, let's do a zoom. Elephants are good. They've got great impact, 250 POA on impact and 100 in melee. Sometimes they're fantastic, sometimes they're just average, but I think overall they can, with a few lucky rolls, they can break through a line and they can really help you. So if I had the option, I'd always take one. With some lists, you get the option to take 2 elephants, 3 elephants. Maybe that's more of a decision depending on who you're playing and the battlefield. But if you've got the option to take 1, I think they're value for money. Some players also add a general. I generally don't. Sometimes I do, but that can really add to their effectiveness as well. Also remember, especially if you're a new player, as opposed to, I think, all other units. When they rout, the effect is just one square all the way around. However, with elephants, when they rout, it's 2 squares. So that's a large area that they can affect. So if you lose your elephant, it can really have a large detrimental effect on your army, because 2 squares all the way around, they'll get cohesion checks. Okay, so some of my favorite units are these veteran African spearmen. Heavy foot, superior quality, and armored. They're offensive spearmen as well, so they generally will last for quite a while once in melee. Because they're superior quality, they're just, their cohesion checks, morale is really high. They really do take a while to kill off. So even if there's 2 units on them, they can hold the line for quite a while. So that enables you to, work the flanks or move other units around to support. They are excellent. And at 78, I think they're worth it. I mean, some other army lists, the elite units are 80 or 90. Not many, but there are some. So for 78, I mean, they're not that much more than pikes. They are good troops. The imitation legionnaires, very bland looking, but they're quite effective. They only cost 51, and their average quality, some armor, so all of that is just average. But the plus point is impact, their impact foot. So when you factor in that they're heavy infantry as well, that can be a bonus. So on impact, against spear, they can disrupt units pretty quickly, and up against other swordsmen, heavy infantry, they generally they can hold. I have generally a quite good experience with them. They don't disrupt quickly or rout quickly. So I think for 51, they're a pretty good buy. And you've got to use them because there are not a lot of options, because then now we're getting onto the medium infantry. The medium infantry, we've got these Spanish Scutaria. They are medium foot, average protected, 42, maybe slightly high, but the key point about them again is that they are impact foot. So against spearmen, they've got a good chance or fair chance of disrupting units, especially the average quality units, not so much the higher quality units. I think originally in the game they were 36, and they were an excellent buy. The price went up to 42, but they're still decent. And in this setup I've got 4 of them. And in this kind of, let's have a quick look at the battlefield. There's not a lot of rough ground. There's a patch here. If I was playing on the defensive, then I've just I've not set up to play. I've set up to show the units. So if I was going to play this battle, then these units would be more over here on the rough ground, because medium infantry on the rough ground has an advantage. Okay, so let me just do that. Have a look at these skirmishes. Javelin men, not a lot to say about them, but what I would say is the cost, because you can see, well, we have the special slingers, but I think the normal slingers are 30. So javelin men are very cost effective at 24, and they're also good in melee as well. So they're a good buy. And you know, in a lot of battles, you're just trying to get the skirmishers out the way, or charge them or whatever, and they'll do the job, and you're saving every time 6 if you're up against archers, because the archers are 30. Just the way it was all set up with the points, I did take some of these Balearic slingers. Are they worth the extra 3 points? You tell me. I haven't really used them that much. It was just the way, you know, I've used up all my points, so I took them. Maybe some of you will like them. But you know, if I had to save points or use them in other ways, I would just take normal slingers probably. And the same with this unit, Ligurian foot swordsman, 50%. I wouldn't take 2 or 3 of them, but maybe 1 of them. They're quite good for harassing enemy skirmishers, so they're quite useful to have. Not too expensive at 30. If you wanted to change things up a little bit, you could, as an example, get rid of your veteran African spear. You've got 78, and then you could add some Scutaria and Italian foot, so you could add 2 units. So if there was a lot of rough ground, if you needed to bulk up your army a little bit, it might be worth doing that. But probably in most cases I would keep my 6 units of veteran African spearmen, because they're really the core, and we have some at the back here as well. They are the key units. So that's the unit kind of analysis. And yeah, if you want to use this kind of army, it's all about balance. It's about using all the different arms of your army, which means you've got to use your cav, you've got to use your heavy infantry, your medium infantry, and your skirmishers. This kind of army is all about, for me anyway, it's all about balance and using all the different aspects of your army. Whereas, I don't know, something like the Romans, it's really about the legionnaires, getting the legionnaires into action. With the pike armies, for me, it's about really getting the pikes into action. But with this kind of army, I think you've got some more options. It's quite a good army for beginners, I'd say, as well, because it teaches you how to use your cavalry effectively. If you can use your cavalry effectively with the Carthaginians, it can really help you win a battle. You have an elephant, you learn how to use elephants, and you've got quite a lot of medium infantry, and you can learn how to use them and where to put them. All right, and I'm just going to add to this list with the Samnites. And here we are with the Samnite allies. So it's a similar army, but there are some differences. You lose out when you add allies. You gain in some ways, but then you have to lose a few units from your base army. And so the biggest kind of disadvantage is the veteran African spearmen, because now we are down to 4, and as you can tell from the first part of this video, I really like them. So yeah, you lose out, because we had 6 with the base army. Now we can only take 4 max. But what do we gain? We gain these rather fearsome Samnites. Now they are medium infantry, so they'll suffer a little bit in the open against heavy infantry, although they can hold as well and do fairly well. But I think the real plus of the Samnites are the veteran Samnite foot, because they are superior quality. They've got some armor, whereas the normal standard Samnite foot is only protected. So they are pretty fearsome. And as you can see, at 66, they're also impact foot. So you've got superior quality troops, impact foot. They've got some armor. They are a really good buy, and you get 2 of them. So that can really be a plus because of the price difference. You save 12 if you know on the veteran spear per unit. So you've got 24 to spend elsewhere. So that's a plus, and then you get some extra Samnite. Now the Samnites are the same, essentially the same unit as the Spanish medium infantry. They both cost 42, both impact foots and swordsmen. So they are actually the same. These, but with the Samnites you get a few more, because I've still got 5 from my base army, but then I've got also all of these Samnites to choose from, and they look really good, don't they? I mean, the modelling. I don't think we look and admire the modelling enough, or certainly I'm so busy playing games that I don't get a chance to zoom in. But you can see that it's really a great job. And if I think back to when I first started playing this game, you know, we were saying, oh, could we have this, or a bit more color, a little bit. I mean, these units are great. They look great. So good job there. So we've got the same kind of number of skirmishes. We've got also, I didn't talk about them earlier, but these are interesting because these are actually medium foot, Ligurian foot, 50% swordsman. They look pretty neat. They only cost 30. Let me know what you think. I haven't used them that much before, but they're probably a bit of a bargain at 30. So this is and we've got our Javelin Horse. We've got 3 of them. So with this kind of build, compared to your standard build with no allies, you're just going to get more of the medium impact foot, and you've got a little less of the Javelin Horse. I think we've got about the same cav, although we lose. We had 2. No, I think we had 2. So no, it's about the same. It's just the Javelin Horse. I've only got 3, but that's not a big loss. I had 4. Veteran Spear, yeah, that's a big loss. And then I had an extra Imitation Legionnaire. So I had a little bit more of the heavy foot in the base build. But this is a decent army, and with this kind of map, with the stream, which is a deep stream, and as you can see, it says severely disorders mounted elephants and heavy foot. It would be a bonus, and it can actually change the game, to be honest. I mean, obviously, if you're in the league or something, you can't just suddenly change your army list. But if I had this army on this map, it would be a bonus because I've got all my medium foot that can cross this stream, this deep stream. Whereas with my other build, if I only had 3-4 medium infantry units, I think I had 4 before, then it would be a struggle. It's a real struggle. If the stream's in the middle of the map, neither player wants to cross the stream, and yet look, it's actually going all the way through, cutting through the middle of this map. So there's no way of avoiding it. So this kind of army on this map would be great, because I've got altogether 8, eight, and if you include this unit, it's 9. I've got 9 medium infantry units, whereas in my first build I had 6. So that would be an advantage. And on these kind of maps, it's quite common to get streams as well. So that's why it's nice to have a mix of units. If you go too much with your heavy infantry, then your options are limited. Okay, so hope you enjoyed. Anything I've missed out? Any experiences you've had with these troops? Have you taken the Samnites? Do you like them? Did they work well with the Carthaginian list? Let us all know. Okay, see you again.